The Central Intelligence Agency, known simply as the CIA, has long been one of the most mysterious and powerful organizations in the world. It operates at the crossroads of secrecy and influence, shaping American foreign policy from the shadows. To understand how the CIA works for America, one must go back to the beginning, to the aftermath of World War II, when the United States realized that information and intelligence were as powerful as weapons. The war had taught a brutal lesson: knowing the enemy's plans in advance could mean the difference between victory and defeat. Before the CIA existed, the U.S. relied on temporary wartime agencies like the Office of Strategic Services, or OSS. The OSS was created during World War II to coordinate espionage, sabotage, and psychological warfare against the Axis powers. It was led by William "Wild Bill" Donovan, a decorated World War I hero who believed in the importance of intelligence gathering in covert operations. The OSS played a key role in helping the Allies during the war, organizing resistance networks in occupied Europe, gathering vital information, and conducting missions behind enemy lines. But when the war ended in 1945, President Harry Truman disbanded the OSS, believing that the U.S. no longer needed such a large intelligence agency in peacetime. That decision was short-lived. As tensions with the Soviet Union grew and the Cold War began to take shape, it became clear that the U.S. needed a permanent organization to collect and analyze foreign intelligence. In 1947, Truman signed the National Security Act, which created the Central Intelligence Agency. Its mission was to coordinate the nation's intelligence efforts, advise the president, and carry out covert operations abroad when necessary. From the very start, the CIA was designed to operate outside normal channels, to see what others couldn't and do what others wouldn't. The early years of the CIA were marked by improvisation and experimentation. The agency was still defining its identity, learning how to gather intelligence effectively in a rapidly changing world. One of its first challenges was understanding the Soviet Union, a closed society where gathering reliable information was nearly impossible. The CIA began developing spy networks, recruiting defectors, and using advanced technology to intercept communications. At the same time, it built secret relationships with Allied intelligence agencies, particularly Britain's MI6, to share information and coordinate missions. As the Cold War intensified, the CIA evolved from a small group of analysts and spies into a vast global organization. Its responsibilities expanded far beyond collecting information. It became a tool for American strategy, a way to influence world events without direct military confrontation. Covert operations became one of its primary functions. These operations included political manipulation, propaganda, and support for friendly governments or rebel groups. The Central Intelligence Agency grew into one of the most influential organizations in American history. By the early 1950s, it had already extended its reach far beyond what Congress initially imagined when the National Security Act was signed. What began as an intelligence-gathering body evolved into a powerful global player involved in secret wars, political coups, and psychological operations. Much of this growth happened during the Cold War, a time when fear of communism justified almost any measure taken in the name of national security. The CIA's most defining period came under Director Allen Dulles. He expanded the agency's covert capabilities dramatically. Instead of only collecting information, the CIA became skilled at shaping events. In Iran in 1953, the agency orchestrated a coup to overthrow Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh after he nationalized British oil interests. Using propaganda, bribery, and coordination with local forces, the CIA helped restore the Shah to power. A year later, in Guatemala, the agency used similar tactics to remove President Jacobo Arbenz, who was seen as too friendly to socialist policies. Both operations were considered successes at the time and gave the CIA confidence that it could quietly engineer political change abroad. Behind these covert actions was a belief that the United States had to act aggressively to prevent Soviet influence from spreading. The world had become a chessboard, and the CIA was the hand moving the pieces. In some cases, the agency provided arms and funding to anti-communist groups. In others, it influenced elections through propaganda and media manipulation. The agency's reach extended into Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Each mission was secret, but over time, some leaked or were exposed by journalists and whistleblowers, revealing the scale of the CIA's global operations. Inside the United States, the CIA was also perfecting its craft of information gathering. It recruited spies, built networks, and monitored global communications. It developed advanced technologies to intercept messages and analyze signals. At the height of the Cold War, it operated listening stations, satellites, and surveillance planes that gathered intelligence on Soviet military capabilities. The agency worked closely with other U.S. allies, particularly Britain's MI6, sharing information and coordinating secret missions. In the 1960s, the CIA found itself entangled in some of the most controversial episodes of the century. The failed Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961 was one of them. The agency had trained Cuban exiles to invade Cuba and overthrow Fidel Castro, but the mission collapsed disastrously. The failure humiliated President Kennedy and exposed the limits of covert action. It also made the CIA more secretive and determined to avoid future public embarrassment. Despite setbacks, the CIA continued its operations across the globe. In Southeast Asia, during the Vietnam War. The attacks of September 11, 2001, changed the CIA forever. When hijacked planes struck the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, the agency faced the greatest intelligence failure in its history. It had missed crucial warning signs about Al-Qaeda's growing threat. In the aftermath, there was anger, grief, and deep self-reflection inside Langley. But more than anything, there was urgency. The CIA was now at the center of a new kind of war, one fought not against nations, but against an invisible enemy scattered across the globe. Almost overnight, the agency shifted its focus entirely to counterterrorism. It established special units to hunt Osama bin Laden and dismantle Al-Qaeda's network. The CIA began operating in Afghanistan alongside U.S. Special Forces, providing intelligence that guided bombing campaigns and ground operations. For the first time in decades, it was fighting an active, global conflict. This era gave rise to what became known as the Shadow War, a campaign of secret missions, drone strikes, and covert detentions that often bypassed public oversight. To track and capture terrorists, the CIA built an expansive network of allies, informants, and surveillance systems. It used human intelligence, satellite tracking, and intercepted communications to identify threats in real time. Many of its operations were highly classified and controversial. One of the most debated was the use of black sites, secret prisons in foreign countries where suspected terrorists were detained and interrogated. Techniques used in these interrogations, including waterboarding, were later condemned as torture by human rights organizations and many U.S. lawmakers. Inside the agency, the mood was complex. Many officers believed they were preventing another 9/11. They saw themselves as guardians operating in moral gray zones to protect American lives. Others questioned whether the CIA's methods had crossed ethical and legal boundaries. The Senate Intelligence Committee later released a report that documented years of abuse and deception surrounding the detention and interrogation program. It became one of the darkest chapters in the agency's modern history. Still, the CIA achieved major victories during this time. Its intelligence work was crucial in tracking Osama bin Laden to his compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. Years of patient investigation, combined with collaboration between analysts and operatives, led to the 2011 Navy SEAL raid that killed bin Laden. The mission restored some of the agency's damaged reputation and became a symbol of America's determination to pursue justice, no matter how long it took. As the war on terror continued, the CIA expanded its drone program, targeting militant leaders in Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia. Drone strikes became a key tool for eliminating threats without risking American lives on the ground. Yet they also caused civilian casualties, fueling anger in regions where the U.S. claimed to be fighting for stability.